Fox Sports.
It's been a fun ride for your Texas Rangers with a different hero stepping up each night. Some nights a veteran leads the way. On other nights, a rookie is the key performer. One consistent factor for Jeff Bannister has been tonight's starter, Nick Martinez. The club has garnered an impressive 8 wins in Nick's 10 starts this year. Who will step up tonight against the White Sox? Stay tuned on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Well, another large crowd filing into Globe Life Park, and one of their heroes, Joey Gallo, doing the favor of signing all the autographs that he possibly can. Tonight, the Rangers take on the Chicago White Sox in Game 2 of this 3-game series. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Wednesday night of Rangers baseball. Rangers looking to make it 5 in a row here at home, and they have the White Sox right where they want them, except for Chris Sale, of course. But that's okay, because the Rangers have Nick Martinez going tonight for them.
Well, it's hard to imagine a pitcher being a lot more consistent than Nick has been. This year he's been pitching extremely well. He's done it by pitching well when men are in scoring position. He's kept the ball in the ballpark, has not given up many home runs. He's pitched very well to left-hand hitters. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in 16 straight starts. Coming off his first loss of the season, although it was a very good start, 2 runs in 7 innings, I think you pretty much expect him to pitch deep into the ball game and give up less than 3 runs tonight.
Yeah.
Any better against Chris Sale.
Exactly right. You can match 0 for 0 with Sale, and Nick Martinez, the one that's tasked with that tonight here at Globe Life Park. So Rangers try to make it 2 in a row for the Sox, 5 in a row overall. We'll be back with the starting lineup and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Ford dealer for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. By Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Another gorgeous evening this late spring night. Young and old alike anticipating the Rangers and the White Sox this evening. Before we get things underway, let's head down to the field and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, it's easy to talk about how great team chemistry is when a team has won 12 of 15, but really this has been good, a good department for this team all year long, even when the wins weren't coming. And a big part of that reason is the fact that the veteran players on this team have been so embracing and so helpful to the younger guys on this roster. And it's a process that started in Surprise, Arizona.
Manny says it all the time, being one of 25, and you know, everybody in here is playing for each other, not just themselves. And you know, when you can do that and kind of, you know, pass it off to the next guy, that's kind of what it leads to. And we got a great group, a lot of young guys, you know, full energy, and a lot of you know, kind of a veteran presence that really kind of lead the way. So it's been a lot of fun so far.
And it's something Mitch said they talked about in Arizona, that all the guys in big league camp had an opportunity to be here in Arlington at some point this season, so they might as well treat them like part of the big club at that point in time. So it would be an easy transition for them if and when they did make it here. And we've seen it, especially in the last couple of weeks, how big that has come up, not only for the rookies, but also for this team as a whole.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Yeah, and it's injected some enthusiasm, too, into everybody around here. It's been fun to watch, and there's no reason why that won't continue. Now, Tom is going to tell you about the Amica Chicago White Sox starting lineup.
Adam Eaton will again lead off and play center field, followed by the left fielder Melky Cabrera. Jose Abreu, back from a brief stint out of the lineup, will DH and bat third. Adam LaRoche is the first baseman. Avisael Garcia plays right field. The sixth hitter is the shortstop, Alexi Ramirez, followed by Gordon Beckham, the third baseman. Tyler Flowers will be the catcher tonight and bat eighth, and batting ninth is the second baseman, Carlos Sanchez.
And that lineup will be the task of Nick Martinez to face, and we'll tell you about him in just a second. Adam Eaton stepping in. We're all set to get underway, and the first pitch this evening is just off the outside corner. Our progressive scouting reporter, Nick Martinez, needs to get back to commanding the strike zone. It has not been as sharp as you would expect, as he would expect. He had a good blueprint, though, sitting around watching Colby Lewis kind of dissect the White Sox last night. And Nick has said he wants to get back to being aggressive, and that meaning getting ahead of hitters with strike one and pitch in front of the count as much as possible. 2-0, and ball three sails up and in. You know, Nick Martinez, not a great start for him against Adam Eaton, who's hitting .233 now with a 3-ball, no strike count. Eaton accounted for both runs that were scored last night against Colby Lewis. A long home run to right. There's a strike, 3-1. White Sox come in at 23-27. They are in fifth place in the American League Central. They trail Minnesota Twins by 7 full games. White Sox expected by many, including a lot of Chicago folks, to be right in the mix this season, and it just hasn't worked out yet for them. Payoff pitch in the air to left field. Jake Smolinski in a nice shadowy spot out there, able to make the grab for out number one. Take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense. It's brought to you tonight by DeMontron RV. You saw Jake Smolinski in left field. He is joined by Delino Shields in center. Shin-Soo Choo is in right. Moreland at first. Alberto and Andrews up the middle. Adam Rosales to start at third, and Carlos Corporan again in the lineup. In case you are wondering about Robinson Chirinos, Jeff Bannister said he's sore today. Robinson, of course, hit by not only the pitch last night, but also he got a foul ball on that same spot in the right hand the next half inning. But Jeff Bannister said he could have played tonight, but they'd rather err on the side of caution and give him another day or two And Carlos Corcoran, of course, coming off a career best 5 RBI, getting the chance to swing the bat again. Now Melky Cabrera reaching out and punching one into left field, or right field, excuse me, for the 1-out single.
Yeah, last night might have been one of the few nights you'll see a guy come into a ball game after it's already started, replace a player, hit a 3-run homer, knock in 5 runs, and no one even mentioned it after the game. He got kind of lost in the shuffle of Joey Gallo's great debut, but Carlos had himself an outstanding game last night.
Yes, he did. So Cabrera aboard. Here is Jose Abreu. Tom told you we had not seen him last night at all. He's back in the lineup after missing 3 games and 4 days with inflammation in his right index finger. Abreu, 282. He's the team leader with 8 home runs and 29 driven in. Probably not going to make that right index finger feel too good. Nick Martinez got inside on him.
He's just shaking his hand as he's going back into the batter's box.
Well, you know, if it becomes public knowledge that a guy's got a bad finger, and I'm a pitcher, he's going to see if he can test that finger real fast. You know, I'm surprised he waited 1 pitch. Got him swinging. And came back with the equalizer. He gets the strikeout, so Martinez dispatches Jose Abreu.
That's pretty good formula against a right-hand hitter. Get ahead with 2 strikes and then throw the slider down and away and a little bit out of the strike zone. And Abreu's an excellent hitter, but he was fooled by that pitch.
So 2 away. Cabrera is still anchored at first. Here's Adam LaRoche. LaRoche, a .236 average with 6 home runs. He is second on the team with 22 RBI. 0-1. Mentioned the Sox having trouble. They are still dead last in the American League in runs scored, 181. That is still 10 behind the next lowest in the American League. On base percentage at .299. That's 13th. Last in home runs with 33. Good fastball to the inside corner. 0-2.
That's getting it in there. Well, after 3 straight balls to start the game, Nick's thrown 10 out of 11 pitches for strikes after that, including 3 straight to Eaton after falling behind 3-0.
Bounce back, huh?
Bounce back, for sure.
Cabrera forced to dive back into first.
Yeah, Cabrera used to be somewhat of a threat on the bases, but not anymore. He hasn't even attempted a stolen base. Of course, he hasn't been on that much either.
Call strike 3. Martinez turning LaRoche into a statue at home plate. Dick with back-to-back strikeouts. No runs, a hit. 1 man left after a half inning. No score. Come to bat, and Tom will tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers lineup.
Brady lineup has been hot, and it's been hot with Delino DeShields in the leadoff spot. He's there again in center field. Shin-Soo Choo bats second in right field. Elvis Andrus, for as far as I can tell, the first time he's ever hit third, will bat third at shortstop. Mitch Moreland moves up to the fourth spot at first base. Adam Rosales, who's had good luck against Chris Sale, will bat fifth. Joey Gallo DHs and bats sixth. Jake Smolinski back in left field. Carlos Corporan is the catcher, and batting ninth, the second baseman, Hanser Alberto.
And Chris Sale goes to work. Good tailing fastball for strike one. And the scouting report on Sale, alongside being very good, he has three-time All-Star stuff. And he has been an All-Star in the last 3 years. 3 above-average pitches, good command of all 3. Fastball in the mid-90s, a slider that will buckle left-handers' knees, and a changeup that is a swing-and-miss pitch against either left-handers or right-handers. Other than that, he's got nothing to work with.
And that was just a swing-and-miss pitch on the second strike to Delino. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 80-plus mile-an-hour changeup.
And Tom, you talked about that fastball changeup combination. He really does that to perfection.
Yeah, it's tough. And that's not even counting his slider, which might get as many strikeouts as any pitch he's got.
Sale at 96. It sank low out of the strike zone.
One of the games that was impressive that Sale pitched against the Rangers was a couple of years ago, midway through the season.
Up the middle. Going to be a tough play for Sanchez. Across his body, not in time. Mr. Excitement, the rookie of the month in May, leads off tonight with an infield single.
It looked like the second baseman, Sanchez, was going to have a shot at that. As soon as he threw it, you say, well, he's not that close to first base. And then as you see the ball going to first, you just see Delino outrun the ball to first base and beat it out. But getting back to Sale, he pitched a game against the Rangers where his fastball was 86, 87, probably 7 or 8 miles an hour off his top velocity. He just didn't have it that day, tired arm or whatever. He wasn't hurt, but he pitched the same kind of game that you would expect him to pitch. He pitched a very good game that day without his best fastball as a young left-hander.
Chu showing bunt and takes the slider just off the outside corner. Shin-Soo, a .246 average. Had a 3-hit game last night, along with his 8th home run of the year. 25 driven in. He has had problems, as most left-handers have, against Chris Sale. Shin-Soo just 1 for 15. Delino a pretty good lead at first, and Chu fouls off the next pitch. Well, the Rangers at 27 and 25 entering play tonight. This is the first time in better than a year that they've been 2 games over 500. Last time was the 29th of May of last year when they were 28 and 26. Sale with that high set. 2-1.
Well, you know how hard Sale is for lefties to hit when you look at the fact that only 2 left-hand hitters have ever hit a home run against him in the big leagues. Not that he's been here for 10 years, but he's been here for 3 or 4 years. He's only given up 2 home runs to left-hand hitters.
And that's high and outside to Chu. 3 balls and a strike. Chu now look for a pitch in a spot if he possibly can. Elvis Andrus, the 3rd man in the batting order, waits in the on-deck circle. Delino stepping off a pretty good lead at first base. 3-2. Rangers in the standings, 5.5 games behind the division-leading Astros. Rangers are in 3rd place. Delino on the move. The pitch is inside and low for ball 4. Flowers came up ready to throw to second, and he heard the decision of the home plate umpire, Mike Estabrook. Didn't even bother throwing. So 2 on, nobody out. Elvis coming up.
Good pitch to lay off of. Borderline pitch, maybe an inch or 2 lower than the lower part of the strike zone we've seen called recently.
An infield single and a walk. Rangers trying to do some more first inning damage. They put 4 on the board in the first last night. And the White Sox trying to avoid that happening. White Sox, as we mentioned last night, have been outscored in the first inning 45-14 this year. 45 runs given up, the most in baseball. The 14 runs in the first, the fewest scored. That's not a good combination.
No.
Way inside. Elvis having a jackknife out of the way.
Control is not a problem for Sale. He's only walked 14 batters in 59 innings. A little bit of a problem for him tonight. He's thrown 7 balls and 6 strikes early in the game. Hopefully the Rangers will be able to take advantage of that, put something on the board in the first inning.
There's that changeup.
Yeah.
1-1.
I think you mentioned last night, Buzz, that the White Sox have not done well in the first inning this year. Good changeup.
Elvis, a .241 average with a couple of home runs. He has driven in 19. He's got Delino DeShields at second, followed by Shin-Soo Choo at first. Sale, a long look back at second. And Elvis is swinging strike, another changeup. 1-2. Now Sale, like all very good pitchers, if you can get to him early, you've got a shot. Ideally, you'd get to him early and knock him out of the ballgame so you don't have to worry about it. But you give him an opportunity to get himself together, and he is as tough as anybody in baseball. That's out of play down the right side. Well, Elvis moving up. He hit 5th last night, hitting 3rd tonight. Jeff Bannister doing some shuffling of the lineup. You take one guy and Adrian Beltre out of the lineup, and all of a sudden it changes the dynamics of the whole thing. You don't have Josh Hamilton available, at least as a starter. So you're kind of mixing and matching. Another 1-2 pitch to Elvis. Instead, it's a little turnaround looking at second.
A little bit different lineup with Josh, Prince, and Adrian out of the lineup. One thing the Rangers do have tonight is a pretty good bench, though. Hamilton, Fielder, Martin on the bench.
And another foul ball. Elvis hanging tough. Elvis, one of the Rangers that normally hits very well against the quality starters from other teams. That's not the case with Sale. Matter of fact, with the exception of Adam Rosales, Rangers having a tough time against Sale. Elvis just 2 for 17. Figures to a 118 average. But he's working Sale pretty well here. The next pitch will be the 6th of this at-bat. Adam LaRoche, the first baseman, got to make sure his glove stays together. Dana DeMuth, the first base umpire, offering help.
Yeah, go get another glove.
Dana DeMuth, the umpire, he restrings gloves in the offseason. So he. Well, while we have a second here, we're talking about Chris Sale. I'm our Kubota Power Stats. For Sale, 10.07 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's good for 5th in the American League. 21 career games with 10 or more strikeouts. That is the most in White Sox history. And I'll add one more to that. He has 12 strikeout games. 12 plus strikeout games, the most in the American League since 2012.
He's coming off one against the Orioles in his last start. It was his best start of the year. 7 2/3, no walks, 12 strikeouts.
Here's that sweeping breaking ball, and Elvis couldn't make contact. Out number 1. Take a look at the defense tonight for the Chicago White Sox in support of Chris Sale. Outfield with Melky Cabrera in left, Adam Eaton in center. Avisail Garcia is in right. Infield, LaRoche at first. You saw him working on his glove. Sanchez and Ramirez up the middle, Beckham at third, and Tyler Flowers catching tonight for Chris Sale. So 1 out. Here is Mitch Moreland. Mitch with a .297 average, 5 home runs, and 18 driven in. Breaking ball hangs inside to him. 1 ball, no strikes. Mitch, as you would figure, not a lot of at-bats against Sale, although he is 1 for 4. Chris Sale reading the signs for his 20th pitch here in the first inning. And instead, he will look back at second. Of course, you get DeShields out there, and Chu runs very well, too. So Robin Ventura very cognizant of the possibility of a double steal in this situation. Oh, and Mitch had one to work with there. Fouling it straight back. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Last 11 ball games for the Ranger first baseman. 3 home runs, 6 RBI. One ball and 1 strike. Ramirez cutting in behind Delino DeShields, and Sale didn't see him in time to make a move towards second. You get a good look at it right from behind home plate. Fastball for a strike, 1-2. Mitch 4 for his last 12 trips to the plate. Delino DeShields at second. Shin-Soo Choo at first. And Sale again with an inside move. Now the left-hander is set to go. And Mitch has had a couple that have been in the hittable area, considering where Sale normally is, but hasn't been able to make solid contact yet. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Double play ground ball to Ramirez. He steps on second, on to first, and that will do it. 30th double play the Rangers have grounded into this year. They strand a runner on a hit and a walk. After 1, we are scoreless at Globe Life Park. Series. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Texas Ranger yearbook. Don't miss your chance to get this annual collectible. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets. Now Nick Martinez getting set to go to work here in the top of the second inning. Eliseo Garcia takes strike one. Garcia, a .314 average, 4 home runs and 18 driven in. And it hit him. Fastball inside. Nick Martinez a little too far inside. That got Garcia, looked like right in the ribs. And while Garcia heads down to first, let's go check in with Jim Knox. Jim?
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. How about this? Red Raider night at Globe Life Park. Yes, College Days are back. They're fired up about the game. But how about Chin-Soo Choo? During the offseason, he made this home in the Metroplex and already is giving back. That's right. He sponsored a Miracle League camp, and Chin-Soo Choo talks about giving back to the community.
Kids or future, you know. So you're not playing Major League Baseball players a whole like 100 years, you know. So you know, some kids, you know, be ball players, some players be, you know, do something, you know. So those kids are very important. That's why I help the kids.
All right, there we go, Chin-Soo Choo. Good to see him get back to the community, and good to see these Red Raider fans here rooting the Rangers on tonight, Buzz.
All right, Knoxy, thank you. Alexi Ramirez at the plate. The pitch inside to him. 1 ball, no strikes. Ramirez a .227 average. There's 2 home runs and 21 RBI. Nick Martinez now most hit batters in the American League, 8 of them so far. 2-0 to Ramirez. Ramirez in a pretty deep funk offensively here. And he pulls one in the hole, a base hit. Stopping at second is Garcia. So a hit batter and a single. The White Sox have something going. 2 on with nobody out. Gordon Beckham coming up.
I almost hit the ideal double play ball, but he pulled it a little bit. He got a hanging slider, it looked like. Got far enough out in front of it where he was able to get it just past Elvis. Got that one up a little bit, but he threw it for a strike. And with a little luck, might have had a double play.
A 2 on, nobody out. Gordon Beckham, a .274 average, steps up. Rangers halfway in, maybe expecting a bunt. He is not bunting. Takes strike 1. Beckham been playing most of his time at third base this year. He started 8 of the last 9 ball games over there. He's hitting .324 in those 9 ball games. To center field, and Delino DeShields has to hold up. Drops in front of him for a base hit. Garcia stops at third. He had to hold up also, but the bases are loaded for the White Sox with nobody out. Well, Mike Maddox on his way out to the mound now to see if he can get things back under control for Nick Martinez and Carlos Corporan. Now the inning started. Eliseo Garcia was hit by a pitch, and that seemed to maybe break the concentration a bit of Nick Martinez. Fell behind Ramirez, gave up a single, and then Gordon Beckham very quickly lined one to center. Mike with a quick meeting out there. Tyler Flowers, the White Sox catcher, stepping in. Flowers also in an offensive downturn. He has hit just .150 over his last 12 ball games. Rangers will play the infield at double play depth. They will give up the run for a chance to get a double play up the middle. Let any ball hit to Adam Rosales down at third. Might try to get Garcia at the plate. First pitch inside to Flowers. 1 ball, no strikes.
The one they'd be likely to go home on would be the high chopper, slowly hit ball where they know they can't turn 2. If you're only going to get 1, then you certainly rather get the guy at the plate, not give up a run.
And that pitch in at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Tough pitch.
Yep. It's not going to be able to do too much if you swing at that ball.
I don't think so.
And that one's inside. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Nick, tonight, command has been a little bit spotty for him. It's something he's been kind of fighting the last several times out there. He has been able to overcome that lately. There's a good slider for a strike. Able to get that pitch close enough to the strike zone to get a swing on it.
He's looking fastball all the way. Bases loaded, trying to do some damage. Nick outfoxed him with that slider. Wouldn't be a bad pitch right here either.
Tried the fastball inside, just missed.
That looked better than the one that was called a strike on the second or third pitch. Nope, it wasn't. It was farther inside. Good call by Mike Estabrook.
Well, the count is full now with the bases loaded and nobody out. Martinez with a payoff pitch. Got him swinging.
Big strikeout.
Good sinking fastball down and in. Flowers a punch out, and that is huge.
And Flowers a little bit prone to the strikeout. Been up 106 times. That's 37th strikeout. Good sinking action. You can see him swing in that slow motion replay. The bat goes over the ball. The ball sunk underneath the bat. Movement caused that.
Well, Nick may not have the velocity, a couple miles an hour maybe off what we normally see him at, but that's pretty good movement. That'll make up for lack of velocity. That and command. 1 out. The switch hitting second baseman Carlos Sanchez comes up. 1 ball, no strikes. Sanchez 0 for 3 in last night's game. This the 10th game of the road trip for the White Sox, and Sanchez is just 5 for 26. Martinez still working from the stretch with the bases full. 2 balls, no strikes. You see Sanchez in the last 13 ball games has hit $130. He would be an ideal guy to hit a 1-hopper right at an infielder. Good 2-1.
Good 2-0 pitch. Fastball count, bases loaded. Hitter might be a little overly aggressive, especially 2-0. You say to yourself as a hitter, okay, he can't walk me with the bases loaded. He's got to throw a fastball. That's what can make a pitcher successful, if you don't have to throw a fastball when the hitter's thinking that way.
3 balls and a strike.
The other thing is Nick has not been pinpoint with his fastball location so far.
And he's fighting it a little bit, trying to make the adjustments. Mike Maddox and Jeff Bannister talking about what they are seeing. Nick looking in for the sign for Carlos Corporan. Now the 3-1 coming. Left center field, that is down for a base hit. 1 run is home. Around third coming in to score Alexei Ramirez. And a left center field single by Carlos Sanchez puts the White Sox on top 2-0.
Well, that time he got a fastball up and out over the plate. Did a nice job. Ball's tailing away from him. Didn't try to pull it. Served it out to left field.
Well, the White Sox with 3 hits and a hit batter in the inning. Got a couple of runs across, runners at first and second, and they go back to the top of the order. Adam Eaton, who flied to left field to start proceedings here tonight. And that breaking ball gets by Carlos Corporan all the way to the backstop. And Beckham and Sanchez advance 90 feet. It was a called strike It wasn't like the pitch was in the dirt. Corporate just missed it. Yeah, it's a called strike. That'll be a pass ball. The 0-1 is the count. Infield now pulled all the way in with Eaton up there, and he pops it up, foul territory. Wind is pushing it back and out of play in about the 6th row. And the count goes to 0-2. Eaton, a .232 hitter up there. Martinez about ready to throw his 21st pitch of this inning. Second and third, one out. The 0-2. That's going to left center field. Smolinski on the run. Reaches up, can't get it. It's over his head and all the way to the wall. Both runs are in with Eaton stopping at second base. A 2-run double. And the White Sox have put a 4 spot on the board. They lead 4-0. Jake Smolinski got a good jump on it, a good read on it. It looked like from our vantage point.
It looked like he was going to catch it. From that angle, it looked like it went to the side of his glove. Yeah, he got his glove just went farther than the ball. It didn't look like it went over his glove. It looked like it went to the side of his glove.
No, it's a double for Adam Eaton. He is at second now. Still just one out. White Sox on top 4-0. Yoki Cabrera, who had the first White Sox hit in the first inning, checks his swing on a breaking ball. It's 1-0. An odd inning for the Rangers, and Martinez scuffling around trying to find the answer for his command problems. Hit batter and 3 singles and a double. That produced 4 runs. It's a called strike. 1-1. Cabrera also scuffling offensively. 194 average in his last almost month of play. 23 ball games. Nick getting ready for his 25th pitch of this inning. And Cabrera shoots it out of play. And this is getting to that spot now where we talked about it, Tom, about the more pitches you throw, the more likely you are to make mistakes. And Nick's got to try to back off a little bit with how hard he's trying to throw the ball. The tendency when you get scuffling like this is to try and throw it harder and harder. Now, I haven't seen Nick try to do that necessarily, but when you want to make a pitch, instead of going with a batting practice speed fastball or something you can command very well, you tend to want to pump it up and you get yourself in more trouble.
Now, we mentioned talking about Nick before the game started. Cabrera didn't like the call there. That he pitched was 16 straight times without giving up 3 earned runs, without giving up more than 3 earned runs. So that streak will break today with 4 earned runs here in the second inning.
Yes,
highly unusual game for him.
And I think you can see why Cabrera might have been a little upset about that.
I don't blame him.
Well, that's the 4th strikeout for Nick Martinez. 2 outs. Jose Abreu, who struck out his first time, will come up. It's that breaking ball that finds the upper reaches of the strike zone. 0-1. Abreu, who had a 17-game hitting streak that ended on the 22nd of May. He was the second longest in the majors this season. And very shortly thereafter started having problems with that index finger.
I was looking through their media guide and checking out some of the years that he had in Cuba. In 2011 in Cuba, he had 212 at bats, played like 60 games, something like that. He hit .453 with 33 home runs and 93 RBIs and 212 at bats. Next year he had 35 and knocked in 99 and less than 300 at bats.
Drives this one to center field. DeShields going back. He's at the track. He is at the wall. That ball's gone.
Well, that's how he did it. He's got big time power.
Yes, he does. Dead center field. His 9th home run of the year on a 1-1 pitch. And the White Sox now lead it 6-0.
36 home runs last year in his rookie season. He's got that kind of power where he can just reach out and still drive the ball over 400 feet to center field. Pitches, down on the outside part of the plate, and he gets the good part of the bat on it and hits it out of the ballpark to dead center field. Big, strong guy. He's a good hitter too. Hit .317 last year. He's not a home run hitter who hits for low average.
So base is now empty. 410 feet, the guesstimate on this home run.
Well, the Rangers scored big last night. And White Sox so far anyway are returning the favor tonight here in the second inning.
Robin Ventura's club has put a 6th spot on the board, and Nick Martinez trying to get Adam LaRoche to end this second inning. Pulled foul, 0-2 now. LaRoche called out on strikes in the first inning.
If you take Abreu's 2 years back to back, he would have had 500 at bats, which is not quite a full season in the big leagues. He would have hit over 400 with 68 home runs and 192 RBIs in less than 500 at bats.
That's the Cuban version of a video game.
Man,
that's amazing.
I don't care what league you're playing in. Take a big leaguer and put him in the rookie league, and those numbers would still be impressive.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Martinez back to LaRoche. Hit hard but pulled foul.
Well, last night Jeff Samardzija for the White Sox was coming off a streak of 3 very well pitched games, 14 straight shutout innings. He was something like 4-1 in his last 6 or 7 starts. And he didn't have great command last night, great control of his pitches. The Rangers roughed him up. And Nick, as we mentioned, is coming off a streak of 16 straight games with 3 earned runs or less. And so far tonight, he hasn't had his control, command, and the White Sox have been very rough on him. So 2 good pitchers back-to-back nights not having their best nights.
And this will be Nick's 52nd pitch in the first 2 innings. That's driven to the gap in left center. It is going to roll nearly to the wall. It is to the wall. And LaRoche steaming into second with a double. And the White Sox have batted around as LaRoche doubles to left center field.
Ball tailing away from him, and several White Sox have done that this inning. They have not been a very good hitting team so far this year, but you wouldn't know it tonight. They're swinging the bats, at least in the second inning.
Anthony Bass up and loosening as quickly as he can in that bullpen. Carlos Corporan went out to talk to Nick Martinez and slow things down just a bit. Now LaRoche with the 6th hit in this inning. He is at second base. Avisail Garcia, who started all this when he was hit by a pitch, up there now for his 2nd time at the plate. 0-1. Nick gets a sign, sets. Tried inside again and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Martinez back to the plate. Is out of play down the right side. Just slices back into the seats. That for Nick is 40th pitch in this inning. It has been more or less a nightmare. There's no other way to put it. Now the 1-2 coming. Got him swinging. Good movement, but down and in. That is the 5th strikeout for Nick Martinez. 5 of the 6 outs have been recorded by a punch out, but the White Sox score 6. And after 1.5, 6-0. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. Adam Rosales leading off for the Rangers here in the 2nd inning. Rangers now have some work to do, and bad news is they're going to have to do it against a guy like Chris Sale, who probably feels a lot better about himself and his stuff after his club put 6 on the board.
Yeah, he was in trouble in the first, but got a strikeout and a double play to minimize the damage.
And Rosales continues to hit well against Sale.
He just can't get him out.
Nope.
In the game last year in Chicago, where he had a couple of home runs in a ball game against him.
Yes, he did. That is correct. Adam Rosales is now 7 for 12 against Chris Sale.
Well, he got a 93-mile-an-hour fastball right in the wheelhouse for him, and just ripped it into the gap.
No 1 on, nobody out. Joey Gallo handling the DH chores tonight. Breaking ball, and
probably hasn't seen that one before.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I don't think at Double-A or Single-A they had too many guys that had that kind of a hook. They could throw for a strike anyway. Lays off that one. That's a pretty good job to check your swing.
Yeah, pretty good respect too. He didn't throw him a fastball on the first 2 pitches. He wasn't going to let him jump on his fastball.
I think Sale was probably paying attention last night. The fastballs that Gallo turned around last night. 2nd time up. Yeah, smart to throw him a fastball. That didn't waste much time getting out of here. First major league home run for Joey Gallo. And he has gone on strikes there as Sale. Nothing but breaking balls to it. Pretty tough.
Yeah, it's very tough.
I don't care whether you're a rookie or a 20-year veteran. That's going to be tough.
Well, you look at what Sale, the kind of season he had last year. He gave up 129 hits in 174 innings. Struck out 208 in 174 innings. 205 opponent's batting average. So no one did much against him last year. He missed a month last year with a flexor muscle strain.
And they were really concerned about that. That's an area that all of a sudden raises a whole bunch of red flags. Strike 2 to Jake Smolinski. But he was able to rehab it. Matter of fact, they were talking about sending him down to see Dr. Andrews, and that usually means surgery is in the offing.
Yeah.
And they decided they didn't have to do that.
Well, he appears to be okay now.
Yep. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Smolinski. Jake recalled yesterday, 3rd time this year that he has been brought back from the minor leagues. He came back taking the place of Adrian Beltre, who had been put on the disabled list. Still 1-2. Jake, a 151 average with the Rangers this year. He went down to AAA and just tore things up. Ended up hitting .422 in a dozen games down at Round Rock. He was 19 for 45 with 5 doubles and 4 home runs. Just gets a piece of that hanging breaking ball. Still 1-2. Last game that Jake played at AAA was this past Sunday at Tacoma. He went 3 for 5 and drove in 6 runs. Home run and a double. Got him swinging. That's that changeup.
It looks just like a fastball.
Yep. 3rd strikeout for Sale.
Guess that's what makes a changeup effective. At least a good changeup. It does look just like a fastball.
You see the angle that Sale throws from that ball has side spin to it, so it's going to tail away from a right-hander pretty good. Looks like it starts going that way and just doesn't stop. 2 outs. Here's Carlos Corporán, switch hitting catcher. 1 ball, no strikes. Corporán set a record of sorts last night. He became the first player to come off the bench either for the Washington Senators or the Texas Rangers and have 5 RBI. The guy who did not start the ball game came on for the injured Robinson Chirinos. Nobody else in franchise history had done that.
Who was it that came into the game in Baltimore in the game the Rangers scored 30 runs? Someone came into that game and had a pretty good game. Must not have driven 4 or 5 runs though.
Now ball to 3rd. That'll do it for the Rangers. We'll look that up. Come up with it. No runs on a hit. 1 left for the Rangers. On to the 3rd. 6-0 Chicago.
Days continue. We have Texas Tech basketball coach Tubby Smith. You got to throw out the first pitch. What was that like?
Oh, right down the middle. I had I had Coach Tadlock today talk to me. We had coaches retreat, and Kirby Holcutt, our AD, everybody was saying, now, Tubby, make sure you get it across the plate. Don't throw it and hit it in the dirt. So Coach Tadlock, our baseball coach, told me to bring a basketball and maybe hook shot that down there, but it went great.
It did go good. And you also have a little baseball background. You'd say your brother played with the Yankees organization?
Yeah, for 5 years back in the 80s. William Smith, they call him Billy Smith, he played for the Charlotte Hornets. One of their AAU teams came up in Sarasota, but William had a good career towards the up. But yeah, I played baseball. My older brother, so I'm from a family of 17, so we all played a lot of baseball or softball.
Yeah, and then also you were just getting in the story. You were talking about Delano DeShield's dad. You think you coached against him?
Yeah, when he was at Villanova. So it's a small world to be here in Texas now, watching him play for the Texas Rangers. I don't know what this is, and I've been around for a while. But I'm impressed with the way the Rangers are. Obviously, it's tough right now, but I'm sure they'll come back and win this game.
Yeah.
With all the Tech fans here pulling for them, I know they will.
That's right. You got to enjoy all the Texas Tech Red Raider fans here cheering for the Rangers. We enjoyed talking to you, Tubby. Good seeing you, and best of luck this season. Appreciate it. Thanks, Buzz.
All right, Doxy, thank you. Well, Jim Knox is talking to Tubby Smith. Nick Martinez goes out, gets a couple of very quick outs. Ramirez a fly ball to right, and Beckham a pop up to short. So 2 gone, and Tyler Flowers will come up.
Yeah, Nick can't do anything to correct the second inning, but he can turn it into something positive if he's able to throw his 95 or 105 pitches and pitch 6 innings today and save 4 innings from the bullpen.
Yep.
That'll turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah, sometimes your job as a starting pitcher is not a lot of fun when things like this happen, but you still got the job to do.
Yep.
Flowers gets that base hit to the center, and now everybody on the White Sox lineup has been on base, either by a base hit or being hit by a pitch. We're only in the 3rd inning. 8th hit allowed by Nick Martinez. Still 2 outs. Carlos Sanchez had a big 2-run single in the 2nd inning. He got the scoring started for Chicago. 0-1. Sanchez with a base hit now has the average up to 190. RBI total at 5. Gets fisted into the hole. Elvis a throw to second, and they get the sliding Tyler Flowers. You have the catcher running, and Elvis knew exactly where to go with the ball on a play like that. Nice defensive play, as we talked about, for Elvis Andrus. An 8-pitch inning. The White Sox are gone in the 3rd. 6-0 Chicago. Women's World Cup begins. China takes on the host country, Canada. And then Monday, don't miss Team USA's first game as they battle Australia on Fox Sports 1. Plus games all weekend long on Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and it's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Chris Sale back to the hill, still with that 6-0 advantage, and he'll face Hanser Alberto to start things for the Rangers here in the third inning. Alberto has hit safely in his first 4 Major League ball games. He hasn't found anything particularly difficult about this league. Well, it's fine. I'll play well here and maybe go up to the next one. 1 ball and 1 strike. First time for a Ranger to have this long a hit streak to open up. Oh, look out, folks. Didn't look like that bat got anybody solidly. Let's hope not.
Well, they're all smiling.
Yeah.
Not very often you come to a ball game and get a bat intact right in your lap. And most of them have a lot of pine tar on them. So you're a young lady all cleaned up coming to a ball game. You might have to go to the restroom and wash your hands after you get one of those bats.
Yeah, and I wouldn't pick up your cell phone right away either. That thing may just become part of your hand.
Well, she's got a great story to tell about her time at the ballpark, that's for sure. Probably had a lot of friends watching right now, too.
Hanser Alberto with a new bat up there now. 1-2 pitch, got him swinging.
She probably can find someone that might want to buy that bat from her, too. That might be the best bet.
Well, before Delino DeShields steps in, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. Dana? All right, Dana, thank you. One out here, top of the order now for the second time tonight. Ground ball fair off the glove of Beckham, and Delino's going to be able to run for a bit. Into second with about a 160-foot double.
He just makes things happen, and he found the ideal spot for him in the lineup right now, and that's the leadoff spot. And here's one of those examples of the third baseman has to play in, otherwise he's going to bunt for a base hit. So he plays in, and then the chopper goes off his glove for a double. Now, it's a great weapon to have that kind of speed and be able to hit if you're going to swing away with the third baseman and the first baseman in front of the bag. Just opens up the hole for you if you can put the ball in play on the ground.
Well, Delino's 6th double of the year, and I venture to say it was his shortest one. But it counts.
It sure does. If he rolled a little bit farther, he might add a triple.
Yeah, he would have. He would have. Oh, Delino 2 for 2 tonight. Shin-Soo Choo drew a walk his first time up there. Sale with the 0-1 pitch coming. Just a little reminder by Chris Sale that Shin-Soo Choo shouldn't expect 2 breaking balls in a row all the time. Just in case he was looking for that.
Yeah, the real test will be if he drops a breaking ball on the outside corner this time.
He's trying to.
Yeah, stayed right with it.
Good job with it.
He stayed right with it.
1-2. Yeah, that's a big part of the art of pitching. Be able to do that, and the big part of the art of hitting is to be able to counteract that.
Yep.
After you've just been made to sit down real quickly. A ball and 2 strikes. DeShields away from second.
Just a little bit low. Vladimir Guerrero would have lined that thing into center field. That was a strike on a hop.
Yeah. Well, if you can do that and throw a strike, that is a tough pitch to hit.
It bounces far enough in front of the plate where it comes right down the middle, about knee high.
Chris Sale being tended to now. They're out there to make sure that the tall, lean left-hander is okay. Said, I just got my spikes caught. Nothing terrible, but they're going to make sure. Sale is.
Herb Schneider's been the trainer there forever, hasn't he?
Yep. Since the mid-'70s.
Yeah.
His front foot there is going to drag right there. Kind of catch on him.
That's a pretty good move. He didn't go down either,
No,
boy.
he didn't.
I don't know how he kept from going down.
Well, Sale, he's 6'6", he weighs 180 pounds, and he's extremely agile. Somewhere in there is the reason that he didn't go down.
Yep.
3-2 now to Chu. Shin-Soo trying to get aboard to join DeShields. Elvis Andrus waiting to be next. Rangers trying to get on the board. They trail by 6. High and tight, look out. And Chu a little bit upset with Chris Sale.
Well, in this kind of a game, I don't think Sale's obviously trying to do anything, but if you're the hitter, you get a little rattled when several of those 95-mile-an-hour fastballs come up and in like that.
Yeah, and the problem, I would think, you're a hitter, you're looking, in a 6-0 game, you're looking for something to be in the strike zone, and you get kind of locked in where you don't react real well when a ball gets up in that area.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think Shin-Soo is thinking he did it on purpose. He's just saying he saw his life flash before his face twice in that at bat. Tailing fastballs right near his chin. I don't think he's saying, hey, don't do that on purpose. He's saying, just don't do it, period. Stop it.
And Mike Estabrook, the home plate umpire, playing peacemaker. So 2 on with 1 out. Here's Elvis, who went down swinging his first time up there. And he comes back with a changeup.
The changeups, I don't think anyone's made contact on the changeup yet. Elvis might have fouled one off the first time up.
Well, if you put it in play, it's probably not going to be put in play very hard. 0-1. Now 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis 3 out of 15 in the homestand so far. This is the 7th game. 6th game, I take it back. That's out of play down the right side. Well, while we have a second here, we want to remind you that the 2015 Garden Gnome giveaways continue on Sunday, June 14th. The first 15,000 fans will get an Elvis Andrus stolen base gnome. That's courtesy of Coca-Cola. Visit TexasRangers.com or you can call 972-RANGERS for tickets. And Elvis pops one foul. Over to take a look, LaRoche, but it's back and out of play. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Rangers with 2 aboard here in the 3rd inning with 1 out. Delino DeShields had a double off the glove of Gordon Beckham down at 3rd, and then Shin-Soo Choo walked on a 3-2 pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, Sale's got a big lead, and he's a great pitcher, but at least the Rangers are making him throw a lot of pitches.
Yep.
His 57th pitch with 1 out here in the 3rd inning.
Well, a reasonably warm night, 86 degrees as we got things underway here. Breaking ball pulled down the left field line. It is foul. And not by much.
That's a heartbreaker against a pitcher like this. You wait on the breaking ball. Got 2 ducks on the pond.
Well, Jeff Bannister's out of the dugout, holding proceedings up. Joey Probinski upstairs is taking a look at it. And boy, that just missed.
Yeah, it just missed.
Just missed. I'm still waiting to hear from Steve Buechele. Boo will get the information from Joey upstairs.
The difference between a harmless ball.
Yeah, so. And Jeff says, hey, we're down 6. If that's even close to being a reasonably good challenge, we're going to do it. Well, the challenge has been issued. And they're going to take a look at it just to see if there wasn't some chalk flying somewhere on that replay. Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, and Ed Hickox, the third base umpire, will get the headsets on. They'll get in touch with the folks back at the replay command center in New York.
Tough to tell if that's the only angle. I don't see how it can get reversed. I think that's dirt that kicks up. It's tough to tell from there.
Yeah.
Part of the ball very easily could have touched the chalk, but I don't know that you can reverse the call with that shot.
Now again, to reverse the call, you've got to have clear and convincing evidence that the call is incorrect. And from that angle, if that's our best angle, that probably is not clear and convincing evidence.
It's a huge play, obviously. Yep. Down by 6. It's a two-run double if the ball hits and is fair.
And it is a foul ball. Well, the folks in New York taking a look at all the angles that they had to work with and came up with that. And Jeff Bannister. The call was confirmed, so it was there was clear and convincing evidence that the ball indeed was foul. The call was correct. And the time of that review, just 1 minute and 12 seconds. So count is still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Elvis off the end of the bat, and Adam LaRoche almost had Shin-Soo Choo in no man's land. It turns into just a line drive out. Choo able to get back. 2 outs for Mitch Moreland.
Tough at bat for Elvis. Miss a 2-run double by no more than an inch, maybe less than an inch, really.
Well, 2 gone. Mitch is up there now and grounded into a double play his first time. Got DeShields at second, Choo at first. Mitch a .294 average as he steps in. Rangers doing a good job lately hitting with runners in scoring position. Knight's obviously not been as productive as they have been, but coming into play tonight, the last 3 ball games, they've gone 14 for 40. That was a .350 average. And since May 1st, our forward leaderboard will show you the Rangers 5th in the American League at .268. Well, that has indeed come up quite a bit. Looping line drive out to Sanchez, and that will do it. Rangers had a couple aboard, a hit and a walk. They strand 2. After 3, 6-0 White Sox. wins right here at Globe Life Park. And the first 7,500 kids, 13 and under, will get to take home a cereal bowl sponsored by Dairy Max. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com and bring your kids home happy. Top of the fourth inning has arrived. White Sox on top 6-0. Nick Martinez back out to the hill facing the top of the order. And joining us as always this time of the ball game at home, Mark McLemore. Nice to see you, Mac. We need a little offense tonight. The defense is fine, but need some runs.
We need a lot of offense tonight. Already down 6, starting to get a little late. Yeah, we need a lot of offense.
Yeah, that peck away theory, it should have started a while back, so we're beyond that now.
Yeah, you're going for the old theories called the Big Bang Theory.
There you go. There you go.
It was the John Blake peck away theory and the Judy Johns Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
Mark Holtz had about 6 or 7 theories, and he named them after his friends.
Eaton, it's a pop foul back in the seats. Well, whatever's appropriate, we need more than one run.
It's an unusual game. I don't think there's many times if you were told after 2 innings the starting pitcher would have no walks and 5 strikeouts that you would think he also gave up 6 runs in 2 innings.
Yeah. Been an odd night. 3-2, the count to Eaton. Ball 4. That is the first walk issued by Nick Martinez tonight. Eaton aboard, and now Melky Cabrera. Nick at 70 pitches through the first 3 innings plus 1 hitter here in the fourth. Cabrera a single and a strikeout tonight. Switch hitter up there from the left side of the plate. And a fastball in at the knees. Cabrera at 239 with the average overall, and very atypical of Melky Cabrera's career to have an average in that vicinity this time of the year. He's been reasonably healthy and just has not been able to generate much offense.
Yeah, this is a guy that can hit from both sides of the plate, hit with power. And yeah, it is a little weird that his average is, where it is right now this time of the year. A lot of guys get off to a slow start, but tend to pick it up. But Melky just hasn't gotten there yet.
Oh, 0-2 the count to him. That's outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Tom pointed out something last night, Mac, about Cabrera's problems. Very similar to what Pablo Sandoval with the Red Sox has had.
Yeah, left-handed this year.
Just was not able to hit left-handers at all. And it kind of spilled over into to Sandoval's hitting from the right side. It hasn't done that to Cabrera completely, but Cabrera, what was he against left-handers?
4 for 46.
Yeah. That's not very good.
No. Sandoval was 2 for 41, I think.
Yeah.
Sandoval had to get hot to get to where he was.
Eaton a delayed steal. The ball goes into center field as Elvis fell down, and Eaton goes on to third. Well, Corcoran threw the ball. Elvis was covering late on the delayed steal, and Carlos tried to throw the ball where Elvis was, not where he was going. And the ball, as a result, went behind Andrus, and Elvis tried to reverse his field and fell down.
Yeah, you don't typically see a guy that can steal bases do a delayed steal. But I guess he caught Corpy sleeping. Elvis was there. He would have been there on time. He didn't turn his back or start going back to his shortstop position. He was watching the entire way.
Smolinski makes the catch. There will be no attempt by Eaton to tag and score.
And I guess the key, Mac, are those little hops that you take, right? What, you generally take 3? Is that what?
On that third when you're going, but what you do with those hops is you try to not get too high, but you want to get as far out as you possibly can with each one of those jumps without trying to look like a rabbit over there. So once you do that, typically the middle infield, either they just freeze or they react too soon. But the key really is to catch that catcher sleeping. If he's got a double pump or double clutch, it's over. You're there.
And it looked like with Cabrera up there batting from the left side that Corcoran was really screened out by Cabrera. He couldn't see the runner.
Probably not.
Perfect time to do it.
Yeah. You know, Eaton advancing the stolen base, the error on the throw, and he's at third, 1 out. Jose Abreu, who is 1 for 2 with a big 2-run home run in the second inning. Infield pulled all the way in.
Now, when you see a delayed steal, Mac, is that generally a sign, or you are on your own, or you get a steal sign and you choose to do it that way?
It depends if that base stealer, if it's a base stealer, if he's got the green light around, he can choose whichever way he wants to do it. Typically, if it's someone else that's not a typical base stealer, it's more than likely going to be a sign from the manager that he wants you to try the delay. So there's a separate steal sign and then that separate delay sign.
Robin Ventura, whatever he's done tonight has worked out. So, if he put the sign on, it's not surprising. And if he didn't, it's not surprising it worked out. It's that kind of a ballgame. 80th pitch of the night is inside. And Nick Martinez now with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, you can see the wheels turning. Nick just trying to find something to hang his hat on. A little bit of consistency somehow. Couldn't get him to offer the breaking ball in the dirt. Nice stop by Corcoran, though, and it's full count. Abreu hitting third in the order. He'll be followed by the left-handed hitting Adam LaRoche. Nick with the payoff pitch. Foul ball just outside the bag. And we'll come back and try it again.
Ooh. It's about as close to being fair as you could possibly get. And that's a tough call for that third base umpire, because it's not necessarily that the ball has to hit once it passes the bag, that it actually has to hit in fair territory, as if that ball crosses the bag in fair territory.
And Abreu, as strong as he is, he went down and got a pitch inside, jammed him, and he was still able to muscle it into left center field. An RBI single as Adam Eaton comes in to score, and it's now a 7-0 White Sox lead. Abreu with his 3rd RBI of the night and his 32nd of the year.
Well, it looked like he ran the pitch inside pretty well. In fact, it's off the plate inside. I think most hitters on that pitch are going to get jammed to the point where they really don't hit the ball all that well. He kept his hands in so far that got a decent part of the bat on the ball.
Yeah, Mike Maddox out once again to talk with Nick and Carlos Corcoran. Anthony Bass, who was up inning before last, up and throwing again here in the 4th. It has just been a difficult night for Nick Martinez. He has had reasonably good stuff. His command has deserted him almost from pitch to pitch. One pitch he'll make a good one, and then he'll have 2 or 3 pitches where just not able to execute. So a run across, still just 1 out. Adam LaRoche pulls the first ball foul outside first. It is 0-1. LaRoche a double in 2 trips. White Sox now 7 runs on 9 hits tonight. Jose Abreu, the runner at first. Rangers in an overshift with LaRoche up there. 1-1.
You know, this is what makes the game of baseball so crazy. Last night the Rangers scored 15 and come back tonight. White Sox are at 7 in the 4th inning.
Yeah.
It's not given that, hey, you score 15 one night, you're going to come back and crush the team the next night.
Yeah, it's that momentum thing too, and you hear it talked about a lot of different ways. That momentum's only as good as the next day's starting pitcher, or it's only as good as your fans are that given day. And I don't know. I think it's all dependent on how you're playing and how the team you're playing against is playing.
Yeah, every day is different.
Yeah,
every day is different. It all starts with one pitch, one catch, one hit, one win.
Folks out here at Globe Life Park, it's a great night. They would love to have something to cheer for from their Rangers. 2-2 pitch.
There really isn't another sport that you can compare to baseball because of how different the next game is based on 2 brand new pitchers, which really are the focal point of the game. In the other sports, you might have a substitution or a player that can't play, but you don't have the game change like you do with 2 starting pitchers being different.
LaRoche draws the walk. Runners at first and second. That might just about do it for Nick Martinez tonight. Jeff Bannister on his way out to the mound. So Nick, toughest outing of the year so far. You'll have to find a way to bounce back next time out. He will do it along with help from Mike Maddox and Andy Hawkins. Anthony Bass making his way in from the bullpen. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The Rangers take on the Royals in Kansas City. And then it's baseball night in America as the Angels square off against the Yankees. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. And you're home for baseball every Saturday. That's Fox and Fox Sports 1. I understand that our esteemed director, Dave Burchett, will be directing that game in Kansas City. Too bad he won't be able to enjoy the off day with the rest of us. It happens. Anthony Bass on now to take over here in the 4th inning. Eliseo Garcia going after that first pitch with no success. Garcia tonight been hit by a pitch and struck out. Low and inside. Anthony worked an inning in last night's ball game. Finished up in the 9th inning. Pretty uneventful 9th inning. He had 1 strikeout. 17th appearance of the year for Anthony Bass. One is coming. Garcia at the plate. He has Abreu at second and LaRoche at first. And ball 3 is down and away. Well, Anthony been very good at coming in and giving Jeff Bannister the innings that he's needed. He hasn't been called upon in this long relief role nearly as much the last month as he was in April. Inside, ball 4. That's going to load him up for Alexi Ramirez.
It seemed like Scott Baker was coming in once every couple weeks in that role and going 4 or 5 innings last year. He had a number of games like that.
It's pretty much a thankless job, but it's very important.
Yeah, if you can't do that job, then 2 or 3 other guys are going to have to pitch, who may be needed the next day in a close ball game.
The base is full of White Sox. Alexi Ramirez has a single and 2 trips. White Sox leading 7-0 in the first pitch. Got him on the fist, could be 2. Elvis turns it over at second, and before 6-3 ends the 4th inning. White Sox get a run on a hit. There was an error, and they strand 2. 7-0 Chicago. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among midsize cars. A great evening out here on Texas Tech Night, University Days at Globe Life Ballpark. Red Raider fans, Ranger fans, looking for the Rangers to get things back in gear. Adam Rosales leading off for the Rangers here in the 4th inning. Rosales, and it should be no surprise, with Sale on the mound, had a single his first time up. Adam now 7 for 12 against. We'll go back to last year, our AT&T Universe Rewind. This was in Chicago, and Rosales drove it to right center field and bam, right into the wall. That was Adam Eaton. As Adam Rosales had 2 home runs that day, and Adam Eaton, with a concussion, was out for the most of the rest of the year. Back out there this year, but I'm sure that's a vivid memory in his mind.
I'll tell you what, a lot of these, most walls have, or all the walls have padding on them, but when you're running full speed into them, it's going to hurt anyway.
Yeah.
People see the padding. Oh, well, that shouldn't hurt. No, that's not true. It's not a pillow. It's just padding, not a pillow.
And if I remember right, didn't he run into the chain link part of it?
Yes. I think he got the chain link part and then also hit the padding where there's a big pole around it that you don't see.
But your body feels.
Yes.
3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. A good changeup from Chris Sale. That is out number 1. And for Sale, strikeout number 5. Here's Joey Gallo, who has seen nothing but big sweeping breaking balls from Chris Sale tonight. Struck out the first time, saw 4 of them then. He has seen 1 more to make it an even handful. That was almost a hitting zone for him. Just got it off the end of the bat. Our T-Mobile game changer. Well, we have had a lot of excitement on this homestand. The debuts of 3 rookies for the Rangers. Hanser Alberto was the first one. A .375 average. And Joey Gallo striking out for the second time. Chichi Gonzalez, of course, the 5 2/3 innings of work against the Boston Red Sox in his debut on Saturday. And then Joey Gallo last night. Well, you couldn't imagine a better way to break in. Single, home run, double, 4 RBI, 3 runs last night. And all 3 of those guys have injected a certain amount of enthusiasm that young players bring to the big leagues with them. It's been great for everybody to see.
Yeah, I really like seeing what they've done. These guys have come in and not just filled in, but they've contributed. I mean, I know it's just a very small sample, but they look like they've been here for a while. They're not overwhelmed. They're not overmatched. Alberto's playing great second base, getting on base, getting hit in every game so far that he's been here. And we all know what Gallo did last night. Yep. Chichi, just a tremendous outing, 5 innings of no-hit baseball in his major league debut. So these guys have come up and they've contributed right away.
1-2 to Jake Smolinski. Got him swinging.
Well, that's some kind of changeup
yes,
he's featuring tonight.
And Chris Sale strikes out the side. He now has 7 in 4 innings. Rangers out in order. After 4, 7-0 Chicago. June 15th and 16th. And the first 25,000 fans at the game on the 16th will receive an MLB Network tote bag. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets. Gordon Beckham leading off for the White Sox against Anthony Bass here in the 5th inning, and the pitch fouled away to the right. It is 0-1.
Guys, I want to say hello to a friend of ours. Just got a text from him, Mickey Tettleton. I want to wish him well. He's recovering from knee surgery up in Oklahoma. And he just wanted me to tell everybody hello, and he'll be back on his feet shortly.
Glad to hear you're doing well, Mick.
One of my favorite teammates.
Hope it won't affect your golf game too much.
Probably up running around the hallways right about now, getting that that thing back in order. Oh, that's great. Glad he's doing well enough to watch us.
Glad he wants to watch us.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing well enough for him to want to watch us.
Exactly.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch. Chopper foul.
Of course, he might turn it off when Mac leaves. He texted Mac, not us.
That's all right. That one big clip, that's okay.
Oh.
1-2 to Beckham.
Trying to do the same thing again.
He is having some defensive hacks at Anthony Bass.
Those are very defensive. He's not picking him up or something.
Doesn't look like he's trying to do that.
Yeah. Well, keep throwing it there, Anthony. He's bound to miss one of them. No, he tried to pull that one. There you go. Got him out of that mode now. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Working him, our Fox track showing you the 7th pitch coming up. 2-2. Anthony Bass took over last inning for Nick Martinez. Nick went the first 3 1/3. All 7 runs charged to his ledger. 9 hits allowed by Nick tonight. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Bass with another 2-2. Beckham, look at where Beckham is protecting home plate. Let's put it that way. 10 pitches now is going to take at least 10 to get rid of him. Anthony's thrown it about everywhere except rolled it. 3-2. Bass back to him. Got him on the fist. That's in play. Elvis for out number 1. Well, earlier today we had some fun. Sean Tollison was getting pictures taken for his baseball card. Notice a nice pose, and Tolly did that very well. Very serious. That's going to make a great baseball card. Maybe a couple of them.
He should consider modeling. It's pretty good.
Did you ever have to pose like that, Mac or Tom?
Yeah, they used to have us out there doing all those, and I remember we had a photo shoot at 7 a.m. in spring training, and that photo made it to a card of me, and I looked like I was asleep, and I probably was.
What they expect.
Exactly. I look at that now, and I remember the day, because I'm like, really, 7 o'clock? And they started snapping at 7 o'clock.
Oh, boy.
It wasn't be there, then get dressed. It was start snapping at 7.
I think every player remembers their first baseball card. I think it's something that allows you to say that you've definitely arrived as a major leaguer when you have your first card. I know growing up, I collected cards. I used to buy them.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy them by the set back then. They came out in series, like 1 through 60, then 61 through 90 or something like that. And we'd buy them all summer long, and they were like a form of currency. We didn't keep them in mint condition. We traded them, we flipped them,
right.
We played blackjack for them,
Yep.
we put them in our bicycle spokes. And the cards of your favorite players and favorite teams were the most valuable, not necessarily the greatest players or the most expensive cards. Ultimately, it's the ones you like the best. So, I think a lot of us grew up collecting them, and then to finally get your own card with your picture on it is a huge thrill. I don't know that the players today collected cards. Certainly they might have collected them, but they didn't collect them the same way we did back then.
Right.
You want a set of cards, you go out and buy a set of cards. You don't even get gum in it. You just get a big box with all the cards in it. What's the fun in that?
What's the point? You got to have that little stick of gum.
Yeah, you get the gum, and then you put them in order, and you flip through them. You'd say, I need number 71 and number 82, and you get your friends together and see if they had those numbers, and then maybe you could trade for them. I know my friend was a Red Sox fan, and he would trade me a Mickey Mantle card for Jimmy Pearsall, the two center fielders for the teams, because he hated Mickey Mantle and he loved Jimmy Pearsall.
Right.
I used to get the short end of the stick traded with my brothers since I was the youngest. They didn't pretty much trade with me. They just took what they wanted.
They took your cards?
They took what they
Gave
wanted.
You their doubles and triples.
Whatever was left, I got.
Yeah. You know, at the end of the summer, when the last series came out, I'm talking 1952, 3, 4, back then, the last series came out, and it wasn't for sale very long. And it turned out that in some of those sets, the last series were the most valuable cards, not necessarily the best players, but the most valuable cards. I think a lot of kids maybe lost interest in collecting, didn't buy the last series. It wasn't for sale as long. There weren't as many of them, but then over the years, they became very valuable cards.
Sure. Now you just go on the internet and put your order in and tell them what you need.
Yeah.
Send it to you. Well, 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Tyler Flowers, who doubled, is now over third with 2 outs and back to the top of the order. Adam Eaton has been aboard a couple of times this evening. A walk and a double. And Anthony Bass pours in strike 1.
I think they made those old cards so valuable. Number one, they didn't make as many of them back then as they do now. And the thing we're just talking about is we didn't care whether they were in mint condition. And a card that's not in mint condition, if it's in mediocre condition like ours were, they're practically worthless.
Well, that'll do it for the White Sox. We played half the ball game. The White Sox leading the Rangers by a score of 7-0. Savings this season. You can save nearly 50% on 4 tickets, 4 jumbo hot dogs, 4 Coke soft drinks, 2 Kid Zones wristbands, and 1 souvenir program. Just visit TexasRangers.com/specials to get your Coca-Cola family packs for tomorrow's game against the White Sox. Carlos Corporan starting things off for the Rangers here in the 5th inning. They trail 7-0. Chris Sale has retired the last 5 in a row with 3 strikeouts. He struck out the side in the 4th inning.
Yeah, Buzz, we're talking about collecting cards. I had a number of cards, but I had a Carl Yastrzemski rookie card, and my oldest son loved Carl Yastrzemski for some reason. And a line drive. So I gave him the Carl Yastrzemski rookie card. And he used to like to get his cards out and put them all over the floor and sort them and look at them. He just loved cards. And my other son came running through the living room when he was probably about, I don't know, 10 years old, and stepped right in the middle. Like there's about 50 cards out there. He hit the Carl Yastrzemski rookie card right in the middle. And just obliterated the card. And wrinkles all over the place. And I was speaking at a luncheon, and I told that story. It was a Saber luncheon, card collectors luncheon, whatever. And the next day, my friend John Esch brought me a brand new Carl Yastrzemski rookie card. Yeah. So I don't know if John's watching right now, but John, Tim still has that Carl Yastrzemski rookie card. And thank you very much for that. What a thoughtful thing.
Well, there's the breaking ball down and in. Hanser Alberto gone. That's 8 strikeouts. Going back to the top hitter now. Dana Larson has a Mazda game break for you. All right, Dana, thank you. The big man doing some Minute Maid damage up there.
Starting to heat up with the weather down there.
Yeah. Delino to Shields, 2 for 2 tonight. And an infield single and a very short double. Doubled off the glove of Gordon Beckham. Oh, Delino, the average now sneaking back up toward 300. 291 currently.
He just has good at bat after good at bat. He never looks overmatched at the plate. Takes close pitches. Now that's a swing and a miss, but it was a good pitch to hit. It was a good swing. He wasn't fooled by a changeup. He doesn't fish for balls in the dirt very often.
2-2, and he got him looking.
A tough pitch.
Tough pitch for anybody. That's 9 strikeouts, and that is 8 straight sent down by Sale. Back, thanks for joining us. We will see you after the ball game on Rangers Live. All right, 7-0 White Sox. And Fox Sports 1 for the first time. The greatest golfers in the world converge on the Pacific Northwest for a chance to stamp their names into the history books. Our exclusive coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship live from Chambers Bay Golf Course begins on June 18th on Fox Sports 1, Fox, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Melky Cabrera starting off the 6th inning. Anthony Bass to the plate, and Cabrera slaps it out of play the other way. It is 0-2. Cabrera 1 for 3 tonight, a first inning single. White Sox 7 runs on 10 hits. Rangers no runs on 3 hits. And you kind of get the feeling that the Rangers, after the opportunities early in the ballgame to get to Chris Sale, having passed by those, they're in hot water now.
Yeah, they came within an inch of scoring 2 runs on Elvis's ball that was right down the left field line and just missed being a 2-run double.
One and 2. Cabrera waiting, and Bass back to it. Elvis with a backhand. Strong throw, and he gets Cabrera by a step and a half. 1 out for Jose Abreu.
Well, we highlighted Elvis in the pregame show, highlighted his defense and some of the outstanding plays he's been making. That's a routine play, but already today he's made that jump throw in the hole to get a force out at second base. He's in a pretty good groove defensively right now.
Yep, sure is.
A couple of careless errors earlier in the season. He's made 11 a third of the way through the season, but over the last week or 10 days, he's been outstanding out there.
Jose Abreu facing Anthony Bass for the first time tonight. Abreu 2 for 3, a home run and a single. He has driven in 3 this evening and now has that batting average up to 288. 9 home runs, 32 RBI for the big guy. To right field. And Chu there to make the grab. Chu gone. Next will be Adam LaRoche.
First baseman Adam LaRoche.
Few of the White Sox hitters have had some at-bats against Anthony Bass. LaRoche has had a couple. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Melky Cabrera, the most at-bats. He had 8 prior to this at-bat here in the 6th inning. LaRoche 1 for 2, a double, a walk, and a strikeout. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rangers again in a pretty drastic overshift. 3 players on the right side with Hanser Alberto playing the rover position out there in right. That pitch inside, 3-1 now. And Fox Tracker will dispute that last call. And ball 4. LaRoche draws his 2nd walk of the evening. Well, it's been one of those nights where White Sox have not been sent down in order yet. LaRoche keeping that streak alive with a 2-out walk. Avisail Garcia, who has been hit by a pitch and walked this evening. He is 0 for 1 officially. .313 average for Garcia. Ball 1. Pretty good breaking ball from Anthony Bass. That catches the outside corner. Garcia came into the ballgame 7th in the American League with a .314 average. That's down 1 point. Prince Fielder, of course, for the Rangers, still leading things. Still hitting over .350. Jeff Bannister today explaining that Prince Fielder was going to get a day off. It had been planned for one of the days this week. And he said as long as Sale was pitching today, it'd be a good time to get the left-handed hitting fielder off of his feet for the day.
And, you know, it doesn't mean that Prince is trying to get a day off because Chris Sale is pitching. But at the same time, you're going to get days off throughout the course of the season. And you might as well get a day off against an extremely tough pitcher. You don't want to take a day off against a guy that you feel like you can light up. I remember at the beginning of the season, Billy Martin used to ask all the hitters to write the names down of 2 pitchers that they knew they couldn't hit. There's a couple guys on the team wouldn't write names down because they didn't want to admit that. But everybody else wrote down 2 names, and then when he was going to give somebody a day off, he tried to do it on the days against guys that they had a difficult time hitting. So nothing wrong with that. I figure with Chris Sale, it's going to be a low-scoring game anyway.
3-2 pitch. It's out of play.
I think really the better the pitcher, with obviously certain exceptions, the better chance a replacement has of doing the same thing that the guy getting the day off is going to do.
Yeah, right.
I mean, sometimes the guy is so tough, it doesn't matter who he's facing. They're not going to get any hits against him. You're going to have a hard time scoring runs. On the other hand, if it's an average pitcher, then it stands to reason that the regular's got a much better chance of having a big day and having an opportunity to drive in runs. Against Chris Sale, generally speaking, it's a difficult task for anybody.
Prince right there with Joey Gatlo just to his right. Robinson Chirinos also sitting on that top bench up there.
I can remember under Billy Martin, I usually only played against left-handed pitchers, but one day I'm in the lineup against Bert Blyleven, and I'm thinking, why in the world am I playing against Bert Blyleven?
That ball's crushed to right center field. Chu, a sliding catch, able to track it down. Nice play by Shin-Soo Choo.
The reason I was playing is because that was the guy that everybody else wrote down that they didn't want to face.
No runs, thanks to, in large part, this great play by Shin-Soo Choo. Middle of the 6th inning, the White Sox leading by 7. Brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,300 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Christopher Brewer from Wills Point, Texas will win $1,300. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Christopher Brewer will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Shin-Soo Choo following that old baseball adage that make a good defensive play, and you lead off the next inning. And Choo had the outstanding defensive play, taking care of a long fly by Garcia. Finds himself, though, down to the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes here in the 6th. Choo has walked twice tonight. And he takes strike 3. No, that is the 10th strikeout for Chris Sale this evening. And let's go down to Jim Knox right now.
All right, appreciate it. As we talked about, Red Raider night here at Globe Life Park, Buzz. And these Red Raider fans started early this morning. What's this about, Abby?
We drove 8 o'clock this morning. We drove 5.5 hours and came see all these Rangers play, baby. Let's go, Wrecking Raiders.
Now, Eric, you actually grew up watching the Rangers, so how many games do you try to catch a year?
I've been here about 15 games a year. I've been here for 10 years. It's been a while. I grew up in DFW area. I love coming to see the Rangers play. It's a great time.
Good to have you out here. You guys enjoy the rest of the game. Appreciate it. All right, there we go. Emily ought to like that, Buzz.
I would think so, Knoxie. Oh, my goodness.
That ball went right in the lights.
Avisail Garcia having his slide down, and normally you see a guy slide the other way toward the ball. This way, you slide to get out of the way.
He's getting out of the way so the ball doesn't hit him in the head. He reaches up, and he's got to be the most surprised guy in the ballpark that ball went in his glove. You see him close his eyes, turn his head. The ball's by him, and he catches it. Elvis, against one of the toughest pitchers in the league, just missed a 2-run double. It was fouled by an inch, and now he misses the possibility of an extra base hit on that line drive. A tough night for Elvis. Could have been 2 for 3 with a couple of RBIs. Instead, he's 0 for 3.
Now, Mitch Moreland up there now. Mitch is grounded into a double play and lined to second. Sale, by the way, with his 10th strikeout tonight, now has struck out 10 or more in a ball game 22 times. That extends his franchise record in Chicago. 0-2. Mitch had a good rip at that pitch. Moreland at 292.
Sale in his brief major league career already has more double-digit strikeout games than any pitcher in the history of the White Sox. That goes back a ways.
Yep, it sure does. And he has 11 now as the Rangers go down in order. Couple of strikeouts in the frame. We have finished 6 at Globe Life Park. White Sox leading 7-0. And it's been all White Sox. Started with Jose Abreu in that second inning, crunching his 9th home run of the year to dead center field. That was a 2-run blast in a 6-run second inning. Chris Sale, in the meantime, got himself together. He righted the ship, and he has punched out 11 Rangers in 6 innings, allowing only 3 hits. And Rangers not coming close since the 3rd inning to scoring against Chris Sale. Tanner Scheppers has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over. here in the 7th inning. Alexei Ramirez starting things off, and one pitch, a ground ball to Alberto. Hansel on to first, 1 away. So Ramirez is 1 for 4. Tanner Scheppers appearing in his 13th ball game. He had 5 outings before being sent out at the end of April, and then came back on the 17th of May, and has done a very, very solid job since coming back. Got things smoothed out a bit, throwing a lot more strikes. Gordon Beckham is 1 for 3 tonight. Pops that one.
Watch
foul.
out, Buzz.
Just to my left. I had that all the way if it had come over here.
I don't think we've had one up here in several years, have we?
It's been a long time.
It's a long way. It's a perfect angle for one, but they generally land right in front of us.
I think the wind took that one out of our reach.
Yeah. At least it didn't hit the equipment that's hanging down from our booth.
2-1. Up the middle by Scheppers. Alberto has it across his body, but not in time to get Gordon Beckham. So that'll be an infield single for Beckham. His 2nd hit of the night.
Tanner couldn't quite get turned around to get his glove on that ball. As he followed through, his glove was on his left side. He couldn't get it back to his right side to catch that ball.
Might have a fine brewing in Kangaroo Court for having a ground ball knock you down on the mound.
Yeah, you might.
That's not good. No, 11 base hits now for the White Sox tonight. 1 on, 1 out. And Flowers a drive to deep left center field. That ball is crushed and gone. Tyler Flowers on the first pitch. It's his 3rd home run of the year. A rocket out of here. It is 9-0 Chicago.
That's one of those balls. You can tell the way it jumped off the bat. That ball had a shot.
Sound. It was all sound.
Definitely had that sound. Inside, lower inside part of the strike zone. That's one where if you can see Tanner's head, he just put his head down. He knew exactly where that pitch was headed.
And we'll get opportunity to hear that. Oh, good. Now, I don't mind the ones that sound like a thud, you know,
like the broken bat ones.
Yeah, that's a good sound. But man, when it sounds like a firecracker going off.
Yeah, generally nothing good's going to happen when it sounds like that.
No. Carlos Sanchez ripped through a Scheppers fastball, couldn't get it, and that is out number 2. Sanchez now 1 for 4. Scheppers with his first strikeout. Well, that'll take the White Sox back to the top of their order for the 5th time tonight. Adam Eaton coming to the plate. Eaton 1 for 3. A double. He's also walked. White Sox a couple of home runs tonight. They now are up to 35 for the year. And a pitch in at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Check that. 0-2. Now it's 1-2. I think Tanner got a little hot under the collar after giving up that home run. He started to bust it in there at 96, 97. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Eaton with the average of 234. Hit his 3rd home run here in last night's ball game. Jeffers trying to go with a changeup and missed Lone away. 2-2. Off speed, that stayed upstairs. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 4. Tanner let him get away, and now Melky Cabrera will come up. Jeffers, the third pitcher used tonight by Jeff Bannister. Nick Martinez went the first 3 1/3. Anthony Bass then turned in 2 2/3 scoreless relief. Now Tanner Scheppers here in the 7th inning, trying to escape any further damage. Cabrera 1 for 4 tonight and a first inning single. Outside, 2-0. The White Sox with a dozen base hits. They have also been the beneficiaries of 5 walks and a hit batter. Out of play. 2-1. That will even the count. Ranger captain trying to get some of those Red Raider fans involved a bit. Rangers need a large comeback. Got 3 innings worth of work to do. Another 2-2. Got him swinging. Hung on to the foul tip by Carlos Corcoran. That'll do it. White Sox add 2 more on Flowers' home run. It's stretch time at the ballpark. 9-0 Chicago. Nothing, and they have had their hands full all night long against Chris Sale. 3rd straight game for the left-hander of 10 or more strikeouts, and the 4th in the last 5 games that he has had double-digit strikeout totals. Just 3 base hits, 2 walks, and he goes to work with Adam Rosales at the plate here in the 7th inning. Rosales a base hit and a strikeout. Adam now hitting at .250. He is 7 for 13 in his career against Chris Sale. wicked breaking ball. 0-2. Rangers have not had a base runner since the 3rd inning. Last man on base for Texas, Shin-Soo Choo, drew a 1-out walk in the 3rd. He, at that time, joined Leonard Shields on base. And that was the last time the Rangers had an opportunity really to do anything against Chris Sale. That went by the boards, and Sale has since gotten a lot stronger. Approaching the 100 pitch mark tonight. Fouled straight down, and Adam Rosales just barely able to stay alive. So the next pitch for Chris Sale will be number 100 tonight. He threw 120 his last time out. That was against Baltimore in 7 2/3. And that was his shortest outing of the previous 4 times out. He had 3 consecutive games prior to that, but he went 8 complete innings. Last time against Baltimore, 7 2/3, and tonight working here in the 7th inning. Another 0-2. Sale keeps pumping them in, and Rosales keeps fouling them off.
Sale had the most pitches of the year in his last start at Baltimore, 120 pitches. Usually around 100 to 110 pitches.
1-2 now. Echo tracker showing you the first 8 pitches. Pretty well dispersed. And breaking ball misses low. The count goes to 2-2. Crowd of 32,598 on hand tonight. Got him swinging, and there is number 12. A long at bat, but that's a dozen punch outs tonight for Chris Sale.
You could see the tracer showing the different angle that his breaking ball breaks at. He started one somewhere near the strike zone and gradually worked the same type of a pitch farther away from the strike zone as he got ahead in the count, kind of testing the patience of the hitter.
There was the first fastball Gallo had seen tonight, right in on his fist. Oh, 2.
That's a hard one to lay off of for a left-hand hitter.
Yeah, our Echo pitch tracker showing you that just off the outside corner. You're talking about Sale's pitch being a knee buckler. That buckled Joey Gallo's knees, that last one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got him swinging. Okay, he threw him a changeup. Got it down, and Joey Gallo strikes out for the 3rd time. 13 strikeouts for Chris Sale. You know, that is his season high for this year, and only 2 shy of his career high.
It's probably rare when Sale pitches in a game against a lineup that has 3 left-hand hitters in it. And even though the Rangers have Hamilton, Fielder, and Martin on the bench, they still heavily favor the left side, so they still got 3 guys left in the lineup. Coming into this game, he'd only had 25 at bats against left-handed hitters, and that's in 9 starts.
Yeah, so
that's not a lot of left-hand hitters.
Yeah, he's seeing one left-handed hitter on average per outing.
Yeah, if that.
Little pop-up, and Sale will take care of that himself. Well, it's a 2-strikeout inning, and he has had 3 of those consecutively. Rangers gone in the 7th. On to the 8th we go. 9-0 Chicago.
Fan the game. It's got to be 6-year-old Serenity. She comes to the Ranger game with her dad. Daddy-daughter night out tonight. Serenity, where are you from?
Texas.
Wichita Falls, Texas.
Wichita Falls, Texas. There you go. And what are you doing in Wichita Falls?
Ride horses.
Ride horses, really? Oh, your daddy's got a picture of it. Oh, there. What's the name of that horse? Buzz?
Buzz.
BB.
BB. Oh, okay. I thought you meant Buzz. Okay. Well, congratulations. Here's the Progressive bag. Thanks for coming out and rooting those Rangers on. All right. Anything else you like to say?
Go Rangers.
There we go, Serenity. All right. Good to see you. Have fun.
And Noxie, that horse was facing the wrong way to be named Buzz.
What a cute little girl.
Yeah, very. Sam Freeman out of the Ranger bullpen now to take over here in the 8th, and he will face Emilio Bonifacio, who's come out to pinch hit for Jose Abreu. Well, Sam Freeman, the 27-year-old from Carrollton, Hebron High School, on now for the 8th inning of work. The first pitch to Bonifacio is fouled away. This is the 10th outing for Sam Freeman. Joined the Rangers midway through May. Opponents a .320 average against. Last couple of times out, scoreless work for the left-hander. Now the only left-hander in the Ranger bullpen, as a matter of fact, with Alex Claudio being optioned back to AAA yesterday. Make room for Joey Gallo. Bonifacio relegated to part-time play, just 196 the average. No home runs, 3 driven in. Pinch hitting for Jose Abreu, who ended the night 2 for 4. 2-run home run and an RBI single. And Bonifacio pops it up. Hanser Alberto. 1 out. Well, before Adam LaRoche steps back in, let's send it over to Dana Larson once again for a Mazda game. All right, Dana, thank you. Adam LaRoche takes a breaking ball from Sam Freeman that nibbles on the inside corner, strike 1. LaRoche is 1 for 2 with a pair of walks. 1 hit, a double in that second inning. That was the big inning that saw the White Sox put 6 on the board. Check swing. The pitch is a bit high. Appeal down to Ed Hickox there at third. He said nope. 2 balls and a strike. Elvis playing on the first base side of second charges. And there are 2 gone. Abasil Garcia now will come up. Garcia, the only starter for the White Sox tonight without a base hit. He has been on base twice, hit by a pitch and a walk, and he is 0 for 2 officially. Freeman missing with a changeup. Garcia waiting as Freeman sets. And Rosales waits for the good hop. Strong throw, and out by a half a step is Garcia. 1-2-3 inning, first time tonight that the White Sox have gone down in order. 7.5 in the books. White Sox leading 9-0.
As we head to the bottom of the 8th, trailing 9-0 to the Chicago White Sox. This the middle game of a 3-game series, which means the finale will come tomorrow. Also, the finale of this homestand. Yovani Gallardo throwing some pretty good baseballs of late. 3-1 with a 3.38 ERA in his last 4 starts. And there you see the numbers for Mr. Adam LaRoche, who has been swinging a relatively hot bat. So again, the finale of this one tomorrow at 7 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Thanks to AT&T UVerse for all the good information here tonight, fellas.
All right, Em, thank you. Well, Chris Sale is out of the ball game. That's the good news. That means his Rangers trail by 9 here in the 8th inning. And Jake Petrichka, the right-hander, has come out of the pen to take over for Sale. Petrichka appearing in his 19th ball game. He was just about ready to turn 27 years of age. Turned 27 on the 5th, which is Friday.
A pretty nice back-to-back starts for Chris Sale. Last start was in Baltimore. 7 2/3, 7 innings today. 14 2/3, 7 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 25 strikeouts.
J.B. Shuck, the new right fielder, taking over for Garcia. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count to Corporate. Carlos tonight has grounded out and lined to first. Sale is showing you why he is a three-time All-Star and bucking for number 4 in a row. A great night. Rangers had an opportunity early to get him. Actually, 2 opportunities. Once they misfired on those, it was a good night. Deep to right field, and Chuck able to go back and spin around the wrong way and make the catch. An acrobatic catch by Chuck. He's trying to explain to Adam Eaton exactly how he did that.
Kind of got turned around, backed up, reached, made a nice play.
Pretty good concentration by Schuck. So 1 out. Here's Hanser Alberto. And he chops that one right off his front leg. 0-1. Alberto, a couple of strikeouts tonight. Trying to keep his streak going. He has hit safely in every major league game in which he's played. The first 4. Now the 0-1. Alberto facing Jake Petrichka, 6'5" right-hander. 1-2. Petrichka last year 67 appearances out of the Sox bullpen. He has been with Chicago his entire professional career. The White Sox took him in the second round of the 2010 draft.
Speaking of the draft, Buzz, that's right around the corner.
They start next Monday?
I'm not sure exactly which day it is. I think right around there. Rangers have the 4th pick in the draft. They haven't had that high a pick in a long time. Yep, it is Monday.
Up the middle, and Hanser Alberto continues his streak. He has now hit safely in all 5 of his major league games. And speaking of draft, let's head down to Emily, and she has some more information. Em?
Well, fellas, John Daniels and Director of Scouting Kip Fagg had their press conference before the draft, kind of a debriefing, which they tell you not a whole lot of information, but one nugget that I did come out of there with was the fact that they do pick so high up this time has not changed their approach or their philosophy, only just the odds of landing a better player, but still taking the best available, regardless of position, need, different things like that. Just go from the board of your best available guys.
Thanks, Emily. Yeah, that's
people always assume that you're going to pick according to your big league needs, but by the time some of the players get to the big league, it's 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Who knows what your needs are going to be then? So that's a good approach.
Yeah, and it makes baseball unique from the standpoint of the draft. It's not like the other, baseball. I mean, football or basketball.
No, the fourth pick in those drafts goes right into the starting lineup.
Yeah, he's got to be able to play.
Yeah,
and produce, and that just doesn't happen in baseball. But at the same time, you even though it's a good guess is what you're trying to do. Take all the scouting information. You're making a guess, an educated guess, as to what that player is going to look like in 1, 2, 3, 4 years. How he might be able to help you. That's an art that I don't understand.
I kind of understand it, but I can't do it. It really is an art that only a handful of people really excel at. The judgment, and they're not right anywhere near all the time.
Right.
They're just right more than most of the others. One guy that got to the big leagues, quickly was Chris Sale. Chris Sale was a college pitcher. He went to the minor leagues for 10 innings in 2 different minor league teams. Went to high A and in 6 innings struck out 18 guys. Called up to the big leagues. Got 23 innings that same year in relief. Then the next year had 58 games in relief, dominating numbers, and he was one of those guys. He had 8 saves that year, who went from a closer to a starting pitcher, and the transition worked very well for him, obviously. But he started his career in the bullpen for a year and probably a month and a half.
Yeah, there are no hard and fast rules that apply to everybody.
No, they don't.
Of course, I don't know of a hard and fast rule that applies to Chris Sale on a lot of levels. And that kind of body and able to throw that way and stand up to the stress that he puts it under for 200 innings a year.
Yeah, exactly.
0-1 to Shin-Soo Choo.
I would say the one position high in the draft that teams probably count on the player they pick getting to the big leagues the quickest would be a really accomplished college pitcher. I don't think they look at that guy picked in the top 10 of the draft, for instance, as a guy that will probably have to spend 3 or 4 years in the minor leagues. I think they're hoping it'll be much quicker than that generally. And there might be a guy that has the great arm but not the great command that takes a little bit longer. But I think generally if you take in the top 10 or 15 picks in the draft a very accomplished college pitcher, you expect him to be pitching in the big leagues very soon.
Yeah. And by very soon, you mean under 2 years?
Under 2 years, yeah. You know, okay, you go to a team at the end of the draft season like Brandon Finnegan from TCU did last year, and then you go back to the minor leagues, and then it's just a matter of time.
Choo with a 2-out base hit. Around to third goes Alberto. The Rangers now runners at the corners here in the 8th inning. And Elvis Andrus coming up. Shin-Soo Choo is 1 for 2 tonight with a couple of walks.
Brandon Finnegan signed after going to the College World Series for TCU last year. Signed, pitched well in the minor leagues, and then pitched in the regular World Series. Only pitcher to ever done that.
And then couldn't make the team out of spring training this year.
Yeah, and then, you know, he pitched in relief last year because he had a lot of innings in college. And so now they're trying to work him. They've drafted him thinking down the road he would be a starting pitcher. But he fit the bill for a reliever last year and did a great job for him. First Ranger game. Thank you, and glad you're here. I think it says Elvis is #1 for you. Just missed seeing Elvis have a 2-run double tonight, too.
Runners at first and third. 1-0 the count to Elvis. Now 2-0. Petrichka coming up out of his shoes to fire that one toward home plate. And Tyler Flowers going to go out there and see if he can't calm the big guy down. The Rangers with 2 hits in the inning. They now have 5 for tonight. Elvis a strikeout on the first. Simpson has lined out a couple of times. And ball 3. Don Cooper on the left part of your screen right there in front. And Robin Ventura, there's a strike. Most of the time the manager and pitching coach will sit next to each other and talk things over. When the pitcher's not going well, the pitching coach is nowhere to be found near the manager. He's out of earshot. And ball 4. Well, Elvis draws the walk. And that brings Ventura out, and he wants to go to the bullpen. Got Mitch Moreland, the left-handed hitter, coming up. And Zach Duke is going to be called in from the bullpen, the left-hander from Waco. So Petrichka gives up 2 hits and a walk. And Robin Ventura says, that's okay, young man. We've got somebody to take your place. So a pitching change underway while Duke makes his way in for the bullpen. We'll take a timeout. We're back right after this. Live streaming sports service is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD. Get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more. Every night on every device. Visit MLB.tv for details. Ranger fans getting excited. Chuck Morgan firing them up. The 32-year-old left-hander Zach Duke out of Waco, Texas, is on the hill now. Mitch Moreland 0 for 3 tonight. And Duke drops a breaking ball in. Pitch swinging through it for strike one. Mitch pretty good in his career with the bases full. Got Alberto, Chu, and Andrews. Sweeping breaking ball. Zook dropping down sidearm to fire that one outside. Zach Duke originally taken in the 20th round of the 2002 draft by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Made his major league debut just 3 short years later. Two and one is the count to Moreland. Mitch hitting at .289. Power numbers of 5 home runs, 18 RBI. He's got a chance to add to the run totals. Inside, almost hit it. 3 and one. Ventura's got to be saying right there, seems like it's never easy. Duke back to the plate. 3 and 2. Well, with 2 outs now, all 3 runners will wind it up and be off with the next pitch. The Echo pitch tracker showing that number 5 right in the middle. Mitch would love to see number 6 right on top of that and see if we can do some damage. Payoff pitch on the way. Off the end of the bat. Outside third. We'll come back and try it again. And Mitch is going to have to do it with a new piece of lumber. Got him right on the end of that bat. I kind of like that bat too. Ranger fans trying to get everybody else going up.
Gotta love the enthusiasm.
Yep.
Looking for a rally. Little 2-out rally here in the 8th inning.
Well, they put 4 on the board in the first yesterday after 2 were out. See if they can't add to it here tonight. Another 3-2. Check swing inside, ball 4. And that will bring a run home. The bases full walk. Andrew Alberto comes down to score. Moreland with the RBI is 19th of the year. And that makes it a 9-1 ball game. Now Adam Rosales will face Zach Duke. Rosales 1 for 3. And Duke comes through the back door with that breaking ball. Rangers now continue their streak of not having been shut out in the last 50 ball games. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rosales. popped up foul. That will be back and out of play. Right down below us. 1-2. Duke reading the signs. Rosales waiting. Outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitch on the way. Inside and low, and it's a full count again. Well, Rosales trying to keep it going. Robin Ventura said, I can't believe what's happening.
Back-to-back bases loaded walks.
And we've got Joey Gallo in that on-deck circle. Runners on the move. 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Duke came back with a high fastball, and Rosales couldn't reach it. Rangers do get a run. A couple of hits, a couple of walks, and 3 are left. We go to the 9th inning. It's the White Sox 9 and the Rangers 1.
As game 1 was last night. Chicago with the 9-1 lead as we head to the top of the 9th. Dana Larson here reminding you we will have the post-game show coming up right after the game. Join me and Mark McLemore as we recap Joey Gallo's 2nd Major League game. Also a look at the American League Rookie of the Month for May, Delino DeShields, what he did in this game tonight. An encouraging update on Matt Harrison, as well as a preview of tomorrow's game and a preview of next week's draft. So stay with us, all of that and much more coming up right after the game. For now, though, we'll get you back to the guys calling it, Buzz and Tom.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. Well, we head to the top of the 9th inning. Another Texan is getting ready to climb up on top of the hill. This time it's 32-year-old Ross Ohlendorf for the Rangers. Ohlendorf, Austin native, and he is asked to come on here and work the 9th inning. Alexei Ramirez will start things. Ohlendorf in his 8th appearance of the year. 1-0 with a 4.05 ERA. The first pitch misses inside for ball 1. Ohlendorf has been scored upon only in 2 of the 7 previous outings that he's had.
Have you ever seen a guy, I mean, he has an unusual windup, but take a windup with the ball in his glove and bring his hand back without the ball? Is that what he's doing?
It looks like it to me. I have not. I have never seen that.
It looks like, I'm trying to watch. It looks like when he brings his hand back, he doesn't have the ball in his hand. He has it in his glove. Yeah, no ball in his hand.
No ball. I have never seen that, no. to answer your question. I've seen a lot of guys take a sign from the stretch with the ball in their
glove, yeah.
And then going to it. I have never seen a guy go into the windup and have it in the glove and not in the bare hand. Gonzalez cuts off that ground ball, fires a strike, and Ramirez is out. One gone for Gordon Beckham. Well, I'd be afraid something like that. I'd come up and the ball wouldn't be there. It'd be lost in my glove somewhere.
You had a bad grip on it.
Yeah. Or you go into the windup, the ball squirts out of your glove.
But if you get the ball like that, it just seems like it'd be very difficult to get it exactly like you wanted it to throw your breaking ball.
I would think so, because you set it in your glove a certain way,
right?
Which he does as he starts the windup. But once you take your hand off, you're right. There's no guarantee you're going to grab it exactly the same way again.
He must know exactly where he's going to grip that ball. There's a breaking ball. Didn't seem to bother him with that one.
No.
Or any of them, for that matter.
Well, Ross has been doing it pretty well for a while, so apparently that's one of those deals in baseball. No rules apply to everybody.
Nope.
As long as it works for you, and you can do it time and time again. Pitch is way outside, 3-0 the count. Beckham a couple of hits tonight. He's gone 2 for 4. .3-0 pitch. Lost him. Get a shot for you, Ross Ohlendorf, from our center field camera. See the ball in there and stays right in there. And then he gets, as he goes back up over his head, gets the re-grip of the ball.
He starts off, before he starts his windup, with his hand on the ball, then takes it off to do that. I guess it doesn't take as much effort to go through that huge windup if you don't have the weight of the ball in your hand when you bring your arm back.
Tyler Flowers tonight, a 3-hit evening. He has had a pair of, or I should say, he has had a single, a double, and a 2-run home run tonight. He's gotten that batting average back up over 200. 3 home runs and 13 RBI. To right field, Chu coming on. That's the second out. Now Carlos Sanchez will come up.
Second baseman Carlos Sanchez.
Ross Ohlendorf in his now 7 1/3 innings of work has issued 3 walks. So that, walks have not been a problem for him. He's had 8 strikeouts also.
Seen the hitters swing and miss at a lot of changeups tonight.
Yeah.
That was a really good pitch for Chris Sale tonight. Probably is most of the times he pitches.
Couldn't get him to offer that breaking ball. 1-2. Yeah, Chris Sale is unique. Boy, he has 3 quality pitches that, when he's on, you pick any one of the 3 of them.
Yeah. He's been on a lot, but boy, his last 2 starts, no runs, 25 strikeouts in 14 2/3, a couple of walks and only 7 hits. Been dominant in his last 2 starts.
That pitch just a little bit high. No, the count has gone full. Sanchez, the number 9 hitter, Adam Eaton, the leadoff man, is waiting to be next if Sanchez keeps it going. Got him swinging.
When in doubt, go with a changeup.
Yep. Ross Ohlendorf, a walk and a strikeout. The White Sox stranded runner. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Ranger has work to do with Joey Gallo leading off. brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. Ranger fans get the rally caps on. You need an 8-run rally to tie this thing up, and Joey Gallo is starting things off against Zach Duke. Gallo, 3 strikeouts tonight. They all came against the starter, Chris Sale. Sale, in case you missed it, 13 strikeouts in 7 innings here tonight. Gallo a drive. There it goes. Goodbye.
You better duck in the front row of the upper deck. That hanging curveball got out of here in a hurry.
Gallo's second big league home run. It was a missile. 9-2.
Well, he's seen a lot of breaking balls tonight. Saw some very, very good ones from Chris Sale. That one probably wasn't Zach Duke's best offering. Never got outside where he wanted it. Not as far outside as he wanted it. And Joey put a good swing on it and knocked it right out of here.
There's a little power pent up in that swing. Wow. Yeah, Jake Smolinski fouling back the next Duke offering. What do you think on the ball, the speed of the ball coming off the bat?
108.
I'm gonna go 102. 110. Wow. Okay. Kind of have a baseline now. That's the first one we've done with Joey Gallo.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna file that away in the memory banks. 110.1. And Smolinski couldn't check his swing. Duke with a strikeout. There's one gone, and Carlos Corporant coming up. Corporant 0 for 3 tonight. Is grounded out, lined out, and flied out. Second to third, across the diamond, out number 2. Well, base is empty for Hanser Alberto. Guesstimate on Joey Gallo's home run, 411 feet.
Hanser Alberto.
And it did not take long to get there.
Sure didn't. Well, you have the feeling over the next 10 or 15 years that there's going to be seats where he hits balls that maybe haven't seen balls in the past.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing in 1. Alberto extended his hitting streak. It's now 5 consecutive games. Had a single in the 8th inning. He was 1 for 3. Trying to get aboard to keep this 9th inning alive. Nothing into the count. The Rangers apparently setting up a rubber match for tomorrow. Giovanni Gallardo and Carlos Rodon for the White Sox. And a little pop foul. That's going to be right over the Rangers dugout. Rangers finish up here tomorrow night, and then it's on the road for 6 games. 3 this weekend in Kansas City. Then an off day next Monday, and 3 out in Oakland. Breaking ball and just a little short. 1-2. Jeff Bannister's club. 4-game winning streak coming into play here tonight. And more importantly, I think, for the skipper is they played well at home for a stretch. That was something that he emphasized at the start of this homestand when Boston came in. He said, look, we've got to just do a better job of protecting our own turf. And you would think that winning 4 of the first 5 in this homestand would qualify as taking steps that way. Sky to right field. Shuck moving over toward right center. In a few, makes the catch, and that will do it. But Joey Gallo gets the Rangers on the board in the 9th inning. It comes up a bit short. Gallo with his second big league home run. The White Sox go to an early splurge, a 6-run second. They win going away 9-2, the final here tonight. We will take a break and come right back to wrap things up for you from Globe Life Park on Fox Sports Southwest.